This is the craziest COVID story I have read in at least 4 days. This story, I have to be very careful about how I speak about this. Because if I say the wrong word, it's kind of like in that DEI segment in New Mexico. If I use the wrong pronoun, if I use the wrong word, I will be censored. This show will be shut down off of social media, and I want to hit my 1 million subscribers on YouTube, so I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to use the language here in the AP fact check. Here is the claim. A Swedish study shows that Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine changes recipients' DNA. That's a claim, and the AP says this is totally false. Okay, so what does the study do? It says AP's assessment, false. Well, what's true? There was the study out of Sweden on the mRNA COVID vaccine, on the effect that the mRNA COVID vaccine has on DNA. Now I'm just quoting directly from the AP. You can't take me down, censors. The study tested whether the vaccine's mRNA could be converted to DNA and found that this was the case. So yes, it does change the DNA that you just said. Claim, it changes the DNA. Assessment, false. What does it get right? It does change the DNA. But here's why they say it's false. They say it changed the DNA in certain lab-altered liver cell lines under experimental conditions. It did not assess whether the vaccine alters the human genome outside of laboratory conditions. So I can't even get through it. The study is checking, do the mRNA vaccines affect DNA? And the answer is yes, but we're going to rate it false because it only did so in a study. Listen, the study only showed that it did a thing in a study, and because the study didn't show that it does something outside a study, it's false. 27 Pinocchios. Keep your eyes on this one. This is going to be a really important one because you know the difference between truth and a conspiracy theory is 6 to 9 months these days. Starts out as a conspiracy theory. 6 months later, it's the gospel truth. And I think that timeline is actually speeding up a little bit. What else did they find? I'm just reading from the AP. During the study, the researchers were able to detect DNA that had been converted from the vaccine's mRNA in the lab-modified cell. Still, the Swedish study only demonstrated that RNA had converted to DNA under particular conditions created in a lab, not in a human body. What the hell do you think you're going to find? You're doing a laboratory study. Of course, you're only going to conclude things from the laboratory study. Well, listen, and because the study didn't prove something that the study didn't study, this is 10,000 Pinocchios. If such DNA had been incorporated into the genome, as suggested in the false claims, the fear is that it could potentially alter cell function or lead to cancer in certain cases, but that wasn't observed in the study. Hold on. This is how they manage to be so dishonest and lie about what they've found. Because they're saying, look, the only reason anyone cares about this is because maybe it could cause cancer, but we didn't find that it causes cancer. No, hold on, that's not the only reason I'm worried about this. I'm worried about the mRNA vaccines altering human DNA because I don't want it to alter human DNA and because all the people who pushed these shots told us they couldn't possibly alter the DNA. And now you've got a study here showing that under certain laboratory conditions and certain cell lines, it actually did alter the DNA, but never mind, nothing to see here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Just like the libs who pushed the shots told us that there is no way, it's scientifically impossible, defies science, that these vaccines could possibly affect women's menstruation. Okay, they affect women's menstruation a little bit. Okay, 42% of women are experiencing changes in their menstruation after the shots. And okay, actually, the changes are lasting in many cases longer than a week, which is the period of time that you observe these things to figure out the side effects of vaccines. Okay, well, never mind. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Trust the science unless it's a Swedish study on the mRNA effect on DNA.